ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in bloody sheets to drop you 6 feet underneath. They put you in a pine wood box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. It all goes well for about a week, and then your coffin begins to leak, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose as you begin to decompose. A slimy beetle with demon's eyes chews through your stomach and out your sides. Your stomach turns to rancid grease, and pus pours out like melted cheese. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you'll eat when you're dead. And the worms crawl out, the worms crawl in, the worms that crawl in are lean and thin, the ones that crawl out are fat and stout. Your eyes fall in and your hair falls out, your brain turns into maggot pie, your liver starts to liquefy, and for the living all is well as you sink further into hell. And the flames rise up to drag you down into the fire where you will drown. Your skin melts off as you descend, and Satan tears you limb from limb. Your suffering will never end, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. They'll eat your guts and then shit them out, and when your bones begin to rot, the worms remain, but you do not. So don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for someday you'll be the one to die. And when death brings his cold despair, ask yourself, will anyone care?
Alright, here we go. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing tonight? Let me just settle up a little bit here before we get started. Alright. See who we got in here tonight. Got Play. How you doing, Play? Devin, Ranger, Nicholas, Cat. Got Ty in here. Nice, nice. All right, just giving a few minutes for everybody to get in. Then we shall begin. How are you guys doing tonight? Is anyone going to see Birds of Prey? Saw it earlier. It was good. My second favorite DCEU film under Shazam. I mean, it looks decent enough. And I'll likely end up watching. I probably won't go to the theaters to watch it because there's nothing really that I feel like is causing me to I gotta see that in the theaters. But I'll end up adding it to the collection for the Blu-ray. But then again, I didn't see Aquaman in theaters, so. So you heard that Birds of Prey bombed big time. I mean, for an opening weekend, yes, from all the numbers that I've seen, but it's going to at least break even. Because it was only on a budget of barely $90 million. So it ended up making its money. Like, you're not gonna keep down a Harley Quinn movie like that. Especially with Valentine's Day being next week. Yeah, it's gonna make its money. Like, what do I fear? Cats. That's not even a Batman thing. That's because I'm allergic to cats. And heights. Put me up high. Start feeling some shit in my stomach. Yeah, sure, Ranger. What do you got? Like, Cat 47? Maybe not you, but 47 cats. Hell yeah. The original Evil Dead is on Netflix. Is it still on there? I didn't know if I still saw it on there. Just making sure everything is all together. Alright, looks like we are good to go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the commentary. Bring all that down. Let's jump over to the commentary channel. So for those not knowing, we will be watching Curse of Chucky tonight. Which I actually do like that poster. Unreal. We are doing a commentary for Curse of Chucky tonight. And how you doing, Leah Deal? Is that how you say that? How you doing? It is still on Netflix? Awesome, awesome. I'm going to get under my blankets real quick. Oh, thank you for the follow, Unreal. That is awesomely unreal. No, it's too corny. I'm not gonna subject you to that kind of torture. That's just fucking... That's terrible. But the way this works is because of copyright issues, obviously, if I can actually speak, it's getting around that time of the night. For copyright issues, I cannot play the movie on the stream. So the way this will work is it is dependent on you to get your copy of the movie ready. I will give a countdown so we can synchronize our copies. When I say play, you'll hit play, I'll hit play, I'll hit play. And we'll watch the movie together. And hopefully, if I make mention of anything going on the movie, it should sync up with yours. At least to a degree. To you pretty much knowing what I'm talking about. Did I see your last comment, Devin? I don't think so. What's going on, Dark Super? How you doing? And Machete, glad you can make it. You gotta do homework. It's unfortunate, but necessary. Stupid copyright issues. Funny, Devin. Very funny. We all got to hit play all together. But yeah, like even if you guys don't have the movie, feel free to stick around the chat, especially if you're on Twitch and you're seeing the YouTube chat. They can see you as well, so feel free to respond or come join us on any other platform that you want. I'm streaming on multiple ones. Because somebody's got to hit play to get the movie started. But all right, we're getting ready to dive into it. Let me go ahead and turn off the sound so I don't get hit with any copyright issues from that. We've been doing good ever since the one copyright strike issue and that got taken back. We've been doing good. So we don't want any issues. None at all. So let us begin with this. Got my player up. And does anybody need a moment before we jump into the stream or the commentary? We're already in the stream. You can't stop that. We gotta find where play lives. It's the only way to start the movie. Why's he got a black eye? It's just hitting play. Of course, it's Ghost Abby. Not this time. I am now start. Oh my gosh. All right. And the countdown shall begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Like I did that. Just because you switched it to start play, I had to go with start. Oh, no worries, Machete. We're just beginning the movie now, and just let me know when you jump in or you want to put your movie on, and I'll give you the time code. Funny thing is, I think I only watched this movie like once. Fear the fleshy hole. Like the way it's shot kind of looks like a bootleg movie. I see your second to last comment, Ranger. No, I don't think so. Why am I not seeing these things? Oh, what if Sheila went with Ash to his time? I mean, it's a good question, but ultimately we don't exactly know if she could. I mean, she probably could go to Ash's time. But I mean, that kind of thing ultimately would result in probably a shock to her system because of all the technology, for one. And two, I would never really believed Ash loved her to begin with. She was quite literally just a bone. Got the spell book from Evil Dead 2 yesterday at FYE. Nice. Was it the Blu-ray? Not Blu-ray, the DVD special edition one, isn't it? Sort of like the one I got here, just a different version. Why is Chucky's mouth gaping open like that? I mean, it's not a bad looking doll. Because, I mean, this is supposed to be the same doll from Seed and Bride of Chucky. And at this point, he's technically supposed to be completely human from staying in the doll for so long, right? So how is he able to access the voice box of the good guy doll at this point? Is the new Saw movie a reboot? Of sorts, yes. It's more accurately a spin-off because the other Saw movies are still canon with Spiral. At least from what I've been told. So it's not exactly like they're redoing everything, they're retconning anything. It is essentially a spin-off. I don't know if it's after the events of Jigsaw or between the events of two specific movies. I'm not entirely sure on that. Like, do I have a Batmobile? I mean, that's what I call my car. I don't know if it's a actual Batmobile. I don't think it'd necessarily meet those standards, but it is black. Part 6, Jason versus Muhammad Ali. I mean, I don't see Muhammad Ali being able to utilize the rope-a-dope on Part 6, Jason. Steelbook. Okay, I got you. JG should make a Batmobile. Just get me like a bunch of cardboard and some spray paint. Let me see what we can do. Because he's opening wide for a surprise. This went a dark direction very quickly just from the chat alone. Yeah, he had sex with her. That doesn't mean he loved her. I mean, look at Ash versus Evil Dead. How many girls did he bone on there? I like the tone that it kind of set in this already. Like killing the mother, keeping it dark. Like you haven't really seen it this dark since really part one. Part two had its dark moments, but just the way this started, it's far darker than that. If I could have one specific movie prop, which prop would I choose? Um, I was gonna say maybe the Hellraiser box, but I already got a replica of that. That would have been one of the things I would have really wanted. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure. There's so many that I would want because I wouldn't mind an actual Evil Dead book. Funny, exotic, very funny. You've been acknowledged. All it needs is some bat wings and missiles and guns. Tall Man versus Pinhead. I mean, that's interesting because I mean, the Tall Man I thought was like this big supernatural like entity. And then when I found out later on when I got older that he was just an alien inhabiting a human body, kind of took a little bit away from him for me, but still that doesn't deny his power. But ultimately, I would probably have to give that fight to Pinhead. I don't think the Tall Man is capable of doing what Dr. Chenard did to reverting Pinhead back to human and then being able to kill him. Favorite movie card? I like the Tumbler from the Dark Knight series. So has Chucky just been in the house all this time? Like duct tape. Did anybody ever read the comic Superman versus Muhammad Ali? I remember the story. I read it long, long, long ago. And I know that Superman essentially gets his ass whooped by Muhammad Ali. But it's also Superman that's been depowered. And to put it into context, Superman without his powers is not exactly extraordinary by any real stretch of the imagination. Like he is trained in some fighting, but it's not exactly like if you're fighting him, like you're fighting Batman or something like that. If I could buy Tumblr, Ty. Not a bad choice, Ranger. Like I do like how patient they are, like in the movie before showing you really Chucky, like out and about, talking, moving, and all that. Like we already know at this point what Chucky can do and his whole like style of how he does things. But it seems here they're like reserving him a little bit, and I actually like that. As opposed to like pretty much Bride and Seed kind of just throw you at him. Even in Seed, where it's just the animatronics of him, like they still kind of throw you into like Chucky talking and stuff like that. Like you hear Brad Dourif's voice and you're quickly reminded of Chucky. Here it's like they're trying to build suspense. They're not showing you Chucky. You're not hearing Chucky. You know he killed the mother, but you're not seeing anything. It's building and building up, trying to give you that good payoff. Right there looks fucking very creepy. Chucky from Curse versus Buzzcut Chucky from Colt. Oh no, I might have to go with Chucky from Curse so far. That might change when I watch Colt though. Never know. Hey, what's going on, Chuck? How you doing? Sometimes dead is better. I mean, I get your sentiment, Ty. I really do. I get your sentiment as far as like bringing back actors to portray. And if you're bringing back an actor like from the dead using CGI, there's some caveats to that. Oh, thank you for the follow, Marcus. Glad you're enjoying the stream, my friend. But there are some pluses and minuses with using CGI to bring dead actors back. Say for instance, at some point you want to remake, let's say Terminator, and you're going to have that crowd that says, you know, nobody can be Terminator besides Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, then all you have to do at that point, you just CGI Arnold's face onto the actor, whoever plays the Terminator, and you please everyone. They probably won't do that with something like Freddy Krueger because Freddy, one, a CGI burn victim is going to look terrible. Two, the budget for those kind of movies usually don't call for something like that. At least all the way through. You might be able to do it for some of the movie, but you're not going to be able to do it for all of the movie. And then there's the instance of if you're doing a biopic on someone. There's a big plus and minus with doing that. Like if you're doing a movie about a dead actor and their life, then having the technology to make your star actor that's playing that role look as much as possible, if not identical to the actor they are portraying, that could be a plus. But on the flip side, the negative is that nobody's going to really pay attention to that actor. Like, they could act their ass off, but if it's got someone else's face superimposed over top of them, then they're not going to really get the credit that they should probably get, especially if they do a great job. So, I mean, there's pluses and minuses. It does have its place, especially for continuity issues. Like, if you're trying to do a movie, let's say Dr. Loomis, for instance. Donald Pleasance being dead, gone, he's not coming back. There's no more Donald Pleasance in Halloween. What if you were able to write a scene where let's say in Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends, we have a scene that involves Dr. Loomis. What if we use that technology for just continuity reasons to superimpose Donald Pleasance's face from 1978 onto another actor just to keep it all within continuity and not jar the audience by creating some confusion and putting a new actor on pretty much in the scenes with as Dr. Loomis in 1978 or anything like that. That could make or break the whole suspension of disbelief while you're watching a movie by seeing, we know what Donald Pleasance looks like as Dr. Loomis. Now we got this other guy playing Dr. Loomis. Looks kind of like him, but not really. Oh, I'm doing good, Chuck. I'm doing real good. I mean, I might be getting a little sick. I know I was sick couple days ago, but my stomach has been very flip-floppity. Hoping it's just something that'll pass. But I'm real good. I'm getting closer and closer to being able to upgrade my entire computer system and being able to not only stream but make videos super, super fast. So I'm definitely, I can't wait for that. Didn't they run into that issue when Bruce Lee died? I think they did. I'm fairly certain you're right, Nicholas. You could just get a lookalike. That is true. But the thing is, it's much easier to find someone that can act and sound like the person that you want as opposed to act, sound, and look like the person that you want. That's the thing. Like, if you can eliminate the look part and get the sound and the mannerisms and everything on that person, and then just superimpose the image over the person using CGI, I mean, fuck it. Go for it. Like, just, but I think, like, if you're portraying a certain actor and that's the route you want to go, then by all means go for it. But I still think with certain things, like the actor portraying the person that they're supposed to be, essentially for all intents and purposes, bringing back from the dead, I think that there is a point where they start not receiving the credit they deserve because, one, if you already superimpose the face, what else have you changed? But on this same thing though. Like we have actors like Andy Serkis that get a shit ton of awards for CGI work, doing Gollum, uh, fucking Caesar, and countless other roles in CGI. And not only that, he's a great actor live action as well. But he's mostly known for his CGI work. Like, he gets a shit ton of credit. So I mean, I guess it's really a case by case basis. But in like the case like where Ty's saying James Dean, like staying dead, like no CGI James Dean, that depends on the director and how he wants to do it. If he really wants to immerse people and the people he's making the movie for, let's say he's making it for James Dean's family or something like that. Maybe that's in his mind, his vision is he wants this to be as close to the real James Dean as possible. And the actor he's picking for the role may not look anything like James Dean, but he's going to use the CGI to change that and just let the image sort of complement the actor's ability. So, I mean, I can understand your issues with CGI dead actors or even celebrity, any dead celebrity being brought back from the dead using CGI. I can understand your conflict with it. It just depends. It depends on a case-by-case basis for me, because there is a place for it. There's definitely a place for it. But not a heavy-handed place. Because even if you did that, Ty, even if you did CGI Clark Gable, any old actor, you're still going to need actual actors. One, for mocap. Two, for voicing the characters. And three, they're likely still going to be acting in the scenes. That's still going to be them acting and all that. The only thing you're really doing is changing their likeness, which for some actors portraying other actors, they'll even go as far as to get prosthetic makeup put on, trying to look like the actors that they're portraying. So is it really that different? Because you're still concealing your face. You're still acting. You're still emoting. All it's doing is sort of mocapping and pretty much essentially deep faking. Like, regardless of actually using the whole deep fake stuff to put someone else in a scene, you still have to act it. And it still has to capture that same emotion. It's like Chucky's pupils keep dilating in and out. So if we made a Lewis and Clark movie, we have pictures of Lewis and Clark to CJ Lewis and Clark. I mean, again, that's a case-by-case basis. I think what we're mostly looking at is more popular culture kind of things. Like, if it's something like Arnold, like I said, Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. if it's something along the lines of like Arnold died and they wanted to make a new Terminator, but they didn't want to. Oh shit! It's a hell of a decapitation. But if they wanted to make a Terminator movie and Arnold Schwarzenegger is already dead, but they didn't want to do it without having Arnold in the movie, they would do that because it's popular. He's essentially a modern popular actor, but they're not going to take something like any kind of explorer or anything like that from 100, 200 years ago. They're not going to do anything like that. They're not going to take old pictures of Marie Antoinette or anything like that and try to reconstruct a figure over that. They're not going to do anything like that. It's only going to be actors like James Dean. James Dean was a hell of a figure, especially still in popular culture. Marilyn Monroe, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that with her too. Like if A Nightmare on Elm Street had enough budget, they would do it if Robert Englund ever died. There's many different case-by-case scenarios that they would do it with. Charles Lee Ray looking thick. Thicker than I remember him in the first Child's Play.
Hey Jay, dude, if you look at your mannequin, it looks like he's trying to get ready to grab himself.
He is. He's always trying to grab himself.
He looks like he's getting ready to pull Michael Jackson.
Well, he is Michael.
Alright, I'm out.
Do I think it'll be another Bubba Hotep movie? I wouldn't doubt it. Because, I mean, Bruce now has been mostly just trying to fulfill fan wishes. I mean, that's how we got Ash versus the Evil Dead. And I know he's been trying for years to get another Bubba Hotep movie done. Like, I want another Bubba Hotep, and I want another My Name is Bruce movie. My Name is Bruce, I fucking loved. Essentially, it's Ash from Ash versus Evil Dead. It's the same fucking character. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Michael Myers should win something at the Oscar. I would love for that to happen, but for lack of a better term, you have a snowball's chance in hell that anything slasher will win anything at the Oscars. Like horror movies and fucking comic book movies are very much looked down on at the Oscars. Say, wait a minute, what am I hearing? It's actually in my headphones. It's part of the movie. Shit. That may be Ty, but we don't know how much you'd have to pay. Like, because you're also looking at it from a standpoint, let's say, like you said, like Sean Connery. Like, if you wanted to CGI Sean Connery, what if actually getting Sean Connery just on your budget alone ran you, I'm not sure how much he got paid, but let's say just a spitball amount, like $15-20 million per movie at the height of his career. Let's just say that. What if you could get his likeness and all of that CGI'd into a movie and it cost you maybe half that at best? What if it costs you a quarter of it? Like, imagine how that impacts the budget, especially CGI. CGI isn't as expensive as practical effects by far. That's one of the reasons why as much as I hate it, it's one of the reasons why George Romero in Survival of the Dead went towards CGI gore more than he did practical. That's kind of the reason why we saw that. Oh, I think it's honestly cheaper to do the CGI tie. Like, I have no evidence to support that, but knowing what we know before practical and CGI, I'm almost willing to bet that a star actor. Now, if you can get another actor that looks and acts everything the way you want it, and it can make bank at the box office, that's one thing. But you gotta think, the James Dean movie, how many movies have done that? To where it's actually going to be about that person with that effect the entire movie. Like, it's pretty rare. And if it does work out, then you're probably going to see a shit ton more. The new Chucky doll looks like he had some plastic surgery. No pun intended. It's weird. What's that? Oh, you just like shit. Diabolos. That's how you say it. Shit. That's how it is. Diabolos. It's funny because when Chucky's not animated, like he's just a static doll, he looks fine. But when he's actually animated, for some reason, his like face expands, and I'm not sure why. It's like he has some really bad Botox. I mean, that could work too, Ty. The only problem is most movies need a gimmick in order to really pull people into the theaters, especially biopics. If you got a biopic about, let's say, James Dean, Sean Connery, anything, any kind of actor, dead or alive, you're doing anything like that, and you have an actor that is fantastic, but you don't believe his name has bankability in order to fucking really drive in like ticket sales and stuff like that, then what you're going to do is you're going to create a hook by using the CGI in order to make that happen. And then it's going to get people interested in, especially if the performance is great, they're going to they're going to look for the actor that portrayed that character in that role, and they're going to go from there, and you might be able to set off that person's career. Now, if that person only has that movie where they set the whole thing on fire and every other movie that they're in is just fucking terrible, it's going to put an emphasis on the weaknesses you can hide with CGI and what else you might change when in post with CGI, like voices and inflections of like your tone and stuff like that. Like I said, it's good and bad. Money wise, I think it will save you on budget because then you only have to spend maybe half of what you would normally have to do for a really good actor, especially a star actor. Because most biopics like that, they go out and get like a Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or something like that that's going to cost you 20, 25, $30 million on your budget to begin with. And they might want to cut that to a third with just using the CGI. Like I said, it has its place. It shouldn't be used heavy-handed, and I think the James Dean thing is going to be interesting to see. But I mean, it's going to evolve the way it's going to evolve anyway. It may very well evolve to the point that most actors are going to be out of work. Like, when if that actually becomes a thing. Oh, where are we at? We are currently at 38 minutes and 45 seconds, Machete. Oh, no, it won't get shut down time. It won't. Especially if they're able to save a shit ton of money on budget. It's likely not going to get shut down. The most you can hope for is the movie bombs. That's literally it. If the movie bombs, then they're likely not going to attempt anything like that for a long time. At least from a standpoint of a starring kind of thing. I still find it amazing that we haven't seen. I mean, we see Chucky move. We see his eyes, like pupils dilate and everything, but we haven't. We're pretty much 40 minutes into the movie, and we haven't even heard like Chucky's voice yet. Outside of the "Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play?" and maybe a bit of a laugh. CGI Paul Newman. See, like that would be my thing. Like in the sense of, let's say you start a series of movies with an actor, because that goes back to the Loomis thing. Um, let's say you start the movies with some actors, and one happens to die. Let's say like how Carrie Fisher with Star Wars. They could have easily CGI'd Carrie Fisher and pretty much had her finish out the movie, like as a CGI character. But I mean, like, if you have a arc planned for that specific character and they die 2 movies before that arc is finished, and you can't necessarily finish like the movie without that arc going through, you have one of 2 things you could do. You could either rewrite it and try to finish the arc in a different way to finish the movie, but it's ultimately going to fall flat because it's not part of the original vision. Sometimes it works if you rewrite it. Sometimes, most of the time, it won't. If you got one long narrative and then something happens where you have to change things midway through. But let's say you have a character die 2 years, not years, but 2 movies before the whole thing ends. You could use that opportunity to CGI an actor, and that'd be fine. CGI Bob Ross. Only if he's painting fucking mountains. Just finished your stop motion play. Do you... I can't remember. Do you upload them? I feel like I remember you saying you did, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a full moon tonight. You could do that, Ty, but you risk a lot. You risk a lot from your fan base if you do that. And granted, before you had no choice. Like before, even really for the good portion of the 2010s, you had no choice really, because I mean the technology, if it was there, it was brand new. You didn't want to do it. Now you have the opportunity to finish your movie with that actor, whether it be like dead or not. And especially if your movie is super fucking popular. Like if your arc that you're doing is really, 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 really knocking it out of the park, and it's a really important character, then you probably don't want to risk that dynamic. Now there are exceptions to that. There are exceptions where you can bring in a new actor and it never miss a beat. But it depends on, one, your budget, how much money you're pumping into a movie, and how much you need it to be returned back. And two, if the change you in your mind really works as a director. Where did my pants go? Chucky looks so fucking weird there. Like he has like bug eyes. We got to hear that. That's what I was just saying, Machete. Like CGI Donald Pleasance. Like I wouldn't, if Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends gave us a flashback with a CGI Dr. Loomis, you wouldn't hear me complain at all. You wouldn't hear me complain at all, especially with the impressionist that they had from Halloween 2018. All that together, I wouldn't mind. I personally would not care. So wait a minute. The Chucky doll. Wait a minute. They said the Chucky doll was sent from an evidence locker, essentially. But in Seed of Chucky, that can't be right. Like how? I mean, was Chucky's body claimed as evidence, and then how the hell did he send what he sent to Tiffany at the end? Like, what? The trend that I hate is overproducing of horror movies. That's the trend I hate. Not every horror movie needs to look like it's stepped right off the CW. That's something I hate. That and over censorship. I feel like, especially when it comes to the horror genre, the grittier the better. And if a horror movie, especially, should be allowed to show what it wants without scrutiny. But pretty much that's mostly why with most horror things I tend to go for unrated director's cuts and stuff like that. Overall in Hollywood, I'm just not a fan of big star actors showing up in absolutely fucking everything. Personally, I don't go to see a movie because, like, I didn't watch the DC movies because Ben Affleck was Batman. I liked his portrayal as Batman, but I didn't go because Ben Affleck is in the movie. That's not why I went. Like, I just liked his portrayal as the character. That doesn't mean every Ben Affleck movie that comes out I'm going to see. That's not exactly how that works with me. Oh, nice, nice, nice. I'll definitely check it out. Dio. Yeah, I brought back Dio. Do I ever think they'll make a Batman TV show? Probably not. At least not right now. Like, he'll eventually come, but I don't think he's going to get his own show. Chucky looks so weird there. How did she not lift her feet up when a fucking doll kicks a bucket full of water? How did you not jump on the bed? That's some pretty good effects there. Yeah, Ty, I've never been one to believe that it's all on the actor's name to carry a movie. It might create some interest. Like, you see that movie that person's doing? But I've never watched a movie because an actor was in it. Never. We are 51 minutes in. CGI the tall man. Oh man, that would be fantastic. That would be one of those that I would probably say you kind of have to. That or you gotta fucking use prosthetics to give Angus Scrimm's like known like look to him. But then again, it's again, Robert, it's the unknown. What if you got another actor to play the tall man and it actually turned out to be better than Angus Scrimm? It depends on, that's the whole thing, like I mean. It depends on the budget and what you're willing to risk. Would people be more accepting of an Angus Scrimm CGI actor or a new actor in the role and redoing Phantasm in general? Like, which one would you rather see as an audience member? What if they make Michael Myers the TV show? It's hard. And that would be hard, Anthony. To do a Michael Myers TV show, it would have to be a miniseries, and it would probably last just maybe one season. Because once you have Michael's story arc go in that season, what do you do with season 2? Hey, what's going on, Jack? How you doing? Tim Burton's Batman is a good movie, just not a good Batman movie. Yes and no. It is a good movie. It's a decent Batman movie. I mean, there's a reason why it's a classic. But there is a certain point where it feels just slow and dragged out. Bat nipples. That came later. JG needs a bat nipple suit. Oh, man. I don't know if I would ever go for the bat nipple suit. I like the suit. To be honest, I really like that suit. I liked all of the I call it the Burton series, like all four, even though the first two were done by Tim Burton. Like, I loved all of those suits, even the nipple ones. They were all pretty cool suits. Would I get one if I ever decided to cosplay that particular version of the character? But I just don't feel the need to, just because I have the Ben Affleck suit. Hey, Hardboy, how you doing? Sorry you're late. Oh, no worries, my friend. We're here at about 55 minutes into the movie. So you just watched the Birds of Prey movie. Oh, nice. How'd you like it, Hardboy? I mean, I could see that, Ty. I could see that. Because, I mean, Jebediah Morningside was a human before he was taken over by the aliens. So, I mean, technically, he could be any form he wants. Essentially. So, I mean, I could see that from a narrative standpoint. I mean, yes, those two particular versions of Batman did kill Devin, but also a lot of that is based on Batman's Golden Age run, where he did kill. Like, he snapped necks, he used guns, he killed before. It's just now it's been so embedded in pop culture that Batman doesn't kill. In the post-crisis era, especially, that we automatically think that's a rule that he had all the time, and it wasn't. He has killed before. So is Superman. Superman has killed before, too. Superman dropped people off buildings in the Golden Age. Oh, okay. Have to check it out. Jason Nipples. Remember that guy? Hey, I love my Jason Nipples, man. They'll be talking about J Nips like that. Yeah, that was it up to the 70s? It might have been before that, before the 70s. Because I know for the good portion of the time his book was canceled, but I think it might have been before the end of his run. He stopped carrying a gun because you got to think the 60s Batman, I think was what, like 63? Something like that. It would have been around that time Batman stopped carrying a gun. Would I get a Blunt Man and Chronic suit? Maybe. Possibly. Mike Myers versus Michael Myers. I'm going with Michael Myers. Nah, the Golden Age Batman lasted longer than 2 years, my friend. Like, you got to think, Detective Comics 27 was when Golden Age Batman first appeared. He was around for a good long time. To put in context, do you know what issue of Detective Comics we're on right now? Over 1,000. Hey, what's going on, Paris? How you doing? Okay, the 60s Batman started in 65. I thought it was around there, like 63, 65, somewhere around there. Revealing the stitches. Why does she kind of look like Chucky in the face? I kind of like this scarred variant of Chucky. Was it 66 to 68? Batman was sort of a mixture of a couple of things, Ty. Like Zorro, um, and the Shadow, to name a few, if I remember right. You got some juicy info you can't release yet. And you mean juicy. Juicier than Jennifer Tilly at Camp Juicy kind. Shit, man. You got me in fucking suspense. What do I think about the Green Hornet? They're supposed to make a reboot. Are they? Are they supposed to try to reboot that again? I remember the movie with Seth Rogen. Well, in the first appearance of the Joker, Devin. He was supposed to have died, but the character was so popular that they found a way to bring him back. And then you figure a lot of the characters that Batman killed, if they were any kind of main characters that would eventually gain any kind of relevance, post-crisis they were brought back. But the Joker supposedly died at least like half a dozen times before they just stopped trying and they realized how good of a character he was. Like I said, I really like how they did this. Like, I mean, I remember liking this the first time I watched it, but now watching it again, I like it even better. Yeah, I'm not sure how long it lasted where he carried a gun. Something coming to TV. What, pray tell? I mean, I heard about the Chucky news where Jennifer Tilly is said she was going to be on the show or she was going to have something to do with it. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. When you need a long slow motion scene to fill out the runtime. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I'd check it out, Ty. Yeah, Fiona Dourif. Yeah, I know it is, Robert. Really, Paris? Something exclusive. Really? See now you got my now you got my attention. Snuffleupagus. I'm not sure if it's that cat. One of the benefits of having woke in movies, sometimes it can lend itself to a proper narrative for it. If it's written well, it can be done well. If it's forced, like literally like shoved up your ass, forced, then it tends to fail. But that's with any kind of thing that you try to put into a movie. Like if same thing goes for religion, political, anything, all of that, if you try to force it, it comes off as disingenuous and really stupid. Same thing goes with the wokeness. But if it's a narrative done well, it can be pretty good. But very rarely is it done well because everyone's trying to force their own specific narrative for it. They're not letting it organically grow. Yeah, I'll definitely message you, Paris. You got, like I said, you got my attention on that. What movie? What woke movie worked and what woke movie didn't? I mean, I would have to look through all of them that really tried to use that narrative because I know there's a shit ton that didn't work. So what does he think? The kid has the camera? I mean, that's very true, Devin. Like, the whole thing is, like, the murderer who kills murderers is still a murderer kind of thing. But ultimately, the Chucky, stop cursing. The whole thing with that is when, especially, you bring Batman into the modern age with the kind of tools he has at his disposal, it's very unlikely that he would not kill. I'm not sure why, Machete. Like, I noticed that too. Ooh. Now that's a fucking hell of an effect. No, I know what you mean, Machete. Ooh. I kind of like the scarred Chucky without like all the like stapled on hair and everything. I like the way he looks like that. Sort of like a mixture of various looks. Now, technically, shouldn't that have kind of killed him to a degree? But then again, I guess it's the whole thing, like Bishop said in part one, has to be a shot in the heart. I think the bigger argument with that, Devin, is pretty much the Joker's whole point now. And this was the problem I did have with Ben Affleck killing people as Batman. Not Ben Affleck, but his version of Batman, the way it was written, with him killing people and like shooting, using the Batwing to shoot, blow up and kill, crush, whatever. The problem with the whole thing with the Joker that I've always looked at is his whole purpose is to try to get Batman to kill. To, as Heath Ledger's Joker said, is to get you to break your one rule. If Batman's already killing, then the Joker's already won. but also you could kind of understand his Batman's response to Robin being killed, a kid that he had in his care, trained and put out in the field, and ultimately got tortured and murdered, that Batman would essentially turn to killing at that point. Reggie versus Ash. I would go with Ash all day. I mean, benefits to it is benefits, Machete. Catnip or fish? I think Cat prefers both. Kind of makes me interested in Charles before he became Chucky. Especially if he knew the family enough to actually even come to the funeral and not stand out. Jason versus King Leonidas and the 300 Spartans. I think that might be a little bit too much for Jason to take on. Like all those blades crossing. Like if Jason was to survive that, I think he's probably going to be missing a couple of limbs. How far are we in the film? We are currently 1 hour, 18 minutes in. Savini Jason versus Leonidas in the 300 Spartan. See, I don't know, because if Savini Jason is powerful enough to take all of them out, then there's quite literally no way any one person, let alone Tommy Jarvis, could take out Savini Jason. So I'm surprised they didn't try to reshoot that scene with a little clip with the heart of Dembala on him. I do like the callback back to Child's Play. But if Pinhead found the Book of the Dead, probably wouldn't really need to use it. And if he did find it, he would have known what it was for. And I don't think any of the Deadites would really want to fuck with him. And Pinhead versus Wishmaster, I'm not entirely sure, because if it's the Wishmaster from part 3 and 4, I would go with Pinhead. All those movies would indicate Pinhead would have enough power to kill the Wishmaster. If it's the Wishmaster from part 1 and 2 and he's free to act on his own, then I think the Wishmaster would probably win that. Do I think Ash could figure out the puzzle box? In the books, no. In the movies, yes. In the books, the puzzle box itself is supposed to be highly difficult for anybody to solve. In the movies, you just rub it a little bit and it pretty much gets solved. Oh, just grabbing the fucking blade, man. I don't know. The moment he opened the gate, I would have just like bum rushed him and attacked. What's going on, Hogpool? How you doing? Well, I think if I was to take a guess, my theory on that, Devin, is that he may look at people like Harley Quinn as insane, which is why they go to Arkham. They're not particularly bad people, they're just sick mentally. That could be a strong possibility. But if you're a goon, a criminal in the mob and stuff like that, you're not sick mentally. You're purposely hurting people because that's what you do. Like, it's sort of like intention. Like, the Joker in his mind could be considered sick. And there may be a way to help him. But if the Joker was declared sane and he was still doing all of this shit, then Batman would snap his neck without a problem. And in that series, at least in Batman vs Superman, Harley Quinn, from what we see in like Suicide Squad and stuff like that, she was physically and mentally abused by the Joker to become what she is. And Batman could kind of feel responsible for that and isn't going to kill her because of that. Yeah, I can't wait to see what ends up happening February 13th, Ty. Well, I don't think it's necessarily that simple, Devin. Like, Robin's death is the reason why he's killing, but it's not because the Joker did it. It's because now he doesn't want anybody else to feel the loss that he did. So he will become violent and kill. But the whole problem with that is also if that doesn't apply to mental illness too, the people who have mental illness, and it doesn't spread across the board, then where does Batman draw the line? If he's coming across a person for the first time that's a murderer, does he just go for him and kill him, or does he recon the situation and make his own snap judgment of whether the person is actually criminally insane or not? Well, I'm doing good, Hawkpool. Yeah, it would kind of freak me out though. So I mean, what I wonder what brought Tiffany back to the fold though. Because I mean, I thought she was happy being Jennifer Tilly. Now, I don't think it's a whole thing that he has a problem killing bigger name villains. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a case of those who are he deems as mentally sick, and it's sort of like beating up someone with a handicap. Only thing is they can't help themselves because of their mental illness. That's what I mean. Like he may feel like he can't stop. he doesn't want to kill them because it's not really their fault. They're doing what they're doing. But someone like a Black Mask or the Falcone family or like any other various mob families, I think he would kill in a heartbeat, at least in that iteration. But someone like Joker, Two-Face, Penguin would be a gray area. I don't know, the lady with the bag on her face kind of reminded me of Black Christmas. I don't know. Who's to say? Because if you remember Devin, the reason why they say the Joker has the grills in Suicide Squad, who's to say Batman didn't go to him with the intention of killing and break out all of his teeth and stop himself? Like, that was his last real form of restraint. Like, he's not going to kill the Joker because the Joker does still have a mental illness. And while the Joker might be safe from Batman's wrath on that particular subject, other criminals may not be. Because as we've seen, Batman would have killed Superman if given the chance in that fight. Like, he had all intentions in the world to kill Superman. But, like, we see him essentially show mercy to Harley Quinn, going and saving her. But we don't know how the fight with Deadshot would have ended up, considering Deadshot is one of those not exactly sent to Arkham types. So it could have very easily have been Deadshot would have either killed Batman or Batman would have killed Deadshot. And Killer Croc, they did say that Batman captured Killer Croc, but Killer Croc could fall in that gray area too, especially if they have his old backstory. You know, he was mentally abused because of his skin condition and began thinking of himself as a human crocodile hybrid. I don't know. You never know, Hawkboy. You might see it. All right. So that was Curse of Chucky. I want to say I love it. It's between like and love. Like I really do like the movie. I really do. Yeah, but you got to look at that from his perspective, Devin. While he saved the city against Zod, in Superman's eyes, Zod was there because of him. It's sort of like let's say you got a guy that's being chased by a gang and he runs in your house and he brings the gang that's chasing him to your house, and the gang is trying to get into your house. They're breaking windows. They're beating up and killing some of your neighbors and family members. But the guy decides, you know what? I'm going to fight back. And he fights against the gang, fights the leader of the gang, beats the leader, and pretty much everything ends. Now, do you praise him for defending you against the gang? Or do you blame him for bringing the gang to your house and bringing so much death and destruction? That is the whole thing that Batman was facing. And Batman definitely blamed Superman for all of that happening. And yes, Chuck, Harley Quinn is juicy. How about Clayface? Clayface, there's many different versions of Clayface. Most of them are mentally insane. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping up because I'm getting hungry and I am ready to hit it. But tomorrow I will be playing some Dead by Daylight. I haven't decided if Tuesday I'm going to be doing Cult or I'm going to be doing more gameplay. We'll see how it goes tomorrow because I tend to flip-flop around. And I know I still have the Child's Play reboot coming up too. But yeah, I want to thank all you guys for sticking around with me, watching the movie with me. For those of you that did watch it, I still love the movie. I may even watch it again. But yeah, I will definitely see you guys tomorrow. And bring all that up. There we go. And hopefully when I get my stuff all upgraded, maybe, just maybe, be able to play some other games and really get the shit scared out of me. Like I did with Sweet 776. But yeah, you guys have a good night. And I'm going to head out. And as always, I am JG Darhk. And thanks for watching.